Hello there and welcome to Professor Simon Moi's channel. I trust you're having yourself a lovely week. My name is Jadil Kabira, obviously here with Professor Simon Moi. Professor, it's midweek. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Bright, sunny.
How did you feel about...
A break from the cold.
How did you feel about the BBI before we start?
About that?
The BBI, you said your opinion is you disagree with the judgment, but your feelings not important. But how did you
must
feel?
respect judgment. You must respect the courts. You could disagree, but respect them.
Did you feel a little bit hurt?
Not hurt. What I'm trying to say is not about feelings. I use my intellect most of the time, but I'm a human being. I could feel sad that we are moving in the wrong direction as a country.
Okay, when we come back, we take a look at some of the comments you left behind after Professor made his videos addressing Raila Amolo Odinga, Deputy President William Ruto, and also President Uhuru Kenyatta with regards to the BBI ruling. Professor, here's Meshack Owino. He said judges were trying to create ground for themselves, not considering what Kenyans want or where the country is coming from. Now, creating ground for themselves, does he mean that it's more about the ombudsman and them considering themselves before the likes of Kenyans?
I think everybody wants power in a government. They are part of government. You know, they are one arm. There's always this conflict between the three arms of government. And from time to time, from place to place, this plays out like that. And sometimes there's competition. And I think the judiciary could be reeling from the past. In other words, we are from a past where the executive was lording over the judiciary and the parliament. So they are trying to assert themselves. I think this is what this young man means.
It's more about asserting themselves.
Asserting themselves, occupying space, and so on and so forth.
Prof, here is David McCory. Says, Prof, you are a very encouraging Raila diehard. The way you move the goalpost is very interesting. Honestly, Prof, on Raila has been chanting nobody can stop reggae, and now reggae has been stopped. Can reggae be resurrected, even though we're going to talk about it in the talk?
You can't stop reggae. Reggae is an idea. BBI is an idea. How can you stop it? An idea is an idea. It moves on. It takes different forms. They want to do this. The courts have said no. They can't do that because the courts have said no. But the ideals of BBI still remain, and they will be realized in other ways and other times. It doesn't have to be this year. It doesn't have to be next year.
Moving the goalpost, I think he means, you said that this could be a blessing for Raila.
Of course, when something has happened, we are a critical minds. We look at it critically. Does it mean this is the end of Raila? Then I say no. I said, by the way, on second thoughts, it seems to benefit him more. It's just a way of looking at things. Yeah, it's not
but it's also about accepting that this time round there was defeat in his camp.
Of course, you have lost.
Yeah. Okay. Simon Doe, and who will mountaineers blame for the lost constituencies and one man, one shilling economy? I've read the comments. So many people are saying this is not just a loss for Raila, it's also a loss for the Mount Kenya people. Do you think it's going to hurt any politician anyway?
Of course, there's so much for Mount Kenya people in this BBI. One man, one shilling, one man, one vote. So it really favored them in terms of new constituencies. And we have said this before, in terms of allocation, CDF, and so on and so forth, revenue allocation and so forth. But it is also true that BBI would benefit all Kenyans, not necessarily equally. So, and the question of blame, I think we should not move into blaming. But since this is a political process, there are going to be casualties. Definitely, Uhuru Kenyatta is going to point fingers at Ruto and tell his people, look, I meant good for you. I was leaving. I wanted to leave you in a position so that if this country becomes a parliamentary democracy, you have enough MPs to decide who becomes the prime minister. Ruto has stood in the way. It's politics, natural.
So later on, politically, it might...
They will blame Ruto for it.
Okay, Andrew Munya, Professor finally has let the cat out of the bag. So basically, BBI was conceived to manage Raila, and Raila, did not realize it until it was too late to get out. Kudos Uhunye, smart move. So now, what next for Raila, Professor? Is he going to announce he's running for president in 2022 now that the yoke of BBI is no longer around his neck? Well, it's too late now, isn't it? Ruto has a head start already.
You see, this narrative has been there that Uhuru is playing Raila, and I've always argued. Of course, theoretically it's possible. But as time has gone by, it's gotten to a point. Only the other day, the president was talking about on TV when he met Editors Guild. the editors, and it's over. It can't be that he's playing Raila.
Yeah.
And as to what Raila is a political animal. If we were to say the truth, there isn't a single politician in this country, at least not the ones we know, who can match Raila in politics. None. So, again, of course, there are things happening to him. He's aging. He's been unwell. He's a human being like you and I. But with all those factors considered, given his history, his politics, I don't think you can lock Raila into a room,
but
politically speaking.
Oh.
You can't. You will get out of the window.
You still
if you lock the window and seal it, you can get out of the ceiling.
You still said that Raila was not free to announce his candidature.
Yes.
And that's a gift for him.
He was caged. Yeah.
Okay.
He couldn't say, I'm going to stand when BBI was not decided.
But now it's going
now he's free.
It's going to the Supreme Court, though.
No, I think I'm of the view that, strong of view, we must take these things to the Supreme Court, because this law, if it becomes settled law, is bad law. But moving to the Supreme Court is not about having a referendum this year or next year. No, just to set the record straight that was bad judgment.
Oh.
And then later on, after the elections of 2022, that to me would be the opportune time to resurrect BBI, not now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kennedy Amolo, just after the election results of Ruto, if it happens, Ruto will require the Luos to help him run the government, just like it happened with the young man Kenyatta, with all the pressure the Sugoi man has had to contend with from a who is who in Uhuru's government, and with the all humiliation that he has had to endure. The Rigathis and the Irungus of today will suffer the first casualties. He's speaking about betrayal that might happen once Ruto becomes president. And I think you once said that if this ruling stands, it's going to be more difficult for the president who is going to come, and he's also going to make some decisions that the president has made. Do you think it's going to be also a difficult thing for Ruto?
Yeah, anytime you get power, people have a lot more expectations than you can meet. So you make enemies. The moment you are elected a member of parliament, you begin to make enemies that same day your victory is announced. So if you become president, there are people who will be expecting too much. They will not be happy. There will be disillusionment. And again, the way we have overpromised people, you may not meet the demands of the promises. And again, this judgment, it is putting a lot of roadblocks in the way of the president, the executive, and even parliament. So Ruto, if he became president, he will meet the full force of those things. And therefore, he will need to have a stable country to be able to navigate through these difficult times that he will be president. And that man is saying, without the Luos, who are the most political people in this country, and the Kikuyus, because then the people you are relying on among the Gema communities are minions. They are small people. I don't want to call them boys, but they are small people. So they wouldn't, and most of them will lose in elections. And even if they are there, the community spokesmen, the people shaping the events around Mount Kenya will not be with you. So you don't have the Kikuyus, you don't have the Luos, and these are the most political families in this country. As president, you can really have it very tough if things begin to go wrong.
And that is why the BBI was put in place.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben Mutai, I've said this numerous times in my previous posts. There are no sycophants in the mountain. Ignore the PowerPoint conference or retreat characters purporting to forge Mount Kenya unity. The unity was long decided by the people. The BBI isn't going to forge unity. He's saying people have already decided that they are united.
People must decide to be united. We wanted that. But the truth of the matter, and I long for that time, even me. I wish it happens in my lifetime. Certainly it will happen during your lifetime. It may not happen during my lifetime. A time when a Kenyan is a Kenyan, not a Kikuyu, not a Luo, in matters of leadership, in choosing leaders. But that time to me is still far.
So for now, we should agree that
these Kenyans, I know them. When they enter the booth, voting booth inside there, and as an engineer, he becomes an ordinary Kikuyu.
Okay. Yeah. Abraham, always, what is about this hidden issue with AG going to Supreme Court? Martha Koome is the president there, not tough like Maraga, just my thinking. This is a bit tricky. Mount Kenya were skeptical to celebrate, but Kalenjins submerged themselves in celebration. It might be too early to celebrate. He's saying that Martha Koome ako kwa mfuko.
I cannot agree with those kind of sentiments. The person who is saying mother is weak, then he doesn't know mother. We have mother's history. She's she's as tough as nails. She was in civil society. These are the people who gave more sleepless nights. My friend, mother is not a pushover. Don't see that demeanor, you think she's a pushover. No.
Kenyans should forget the thought that
forget about
they'll have it easy on the Supreme Court.
If she sets aside, if her court sets aside this judgment, as indeed they should, they will have used the law to make that decision. Not because I've been intimidated. No, you can't intimidate mother. Talk about other people.
Okay.
I know her.
Lastly, Professor Dr. Savai Goku says Raila Amolo Odinga promptly moved away from BBI with Azimio la Umoja. William Ruto has to figure out how he will create counter-narrative to Azimio la Umoja. Is this going to be the next thing?
Yes, Azimio la Umoja, it was a very good move. He looked presidential in Nakuru. It works, but it is yet to reach at the level it can scare Ruto.
Oh.
It's nowhere near bottoms up. It's nowhere near hustler narrative. Still, it's good, but not to that level. He has to figure out. He has to work out something better than that.
The president said that the deputy president is doing very good politically. He's just afraid that he's not going through the right channel. Would you say that it has helped him so far?
Helped who?
Help the deputy president. He's getting the
Yeah, what he has done has helped him. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, who thought Ruto will be where he is after the handshake? He's doing very well. And his opponents must take note, serious note.
Okay, when we come back, let's take a look at the Building Bridges initiative. Is it really dead? Can it be resurrected in the Supreme Court? And what is the next process that the AG and others that are going to appeal on the same in the Supreme Court are going to take a look at, so that we have the Building Bridges initiative back, if possible, if it can get back. Attorney General Paul Kihara is moving to the Supreme Court to appeal the ruling by the appellate with regards to the BBI initiative, which now seems dead. Professor, will we see the BBI resurrected back to life anytime soon if if the Supreme Court decides to overturn the rulings?
Theoretically, yes. If the Supreme Court overturns the ruling, they can certainly resurrect BBI. They can have a referendum. There is enough time. It doesn't really matter. Kenyans think an election is a serious thing. This is a very small thing. I tell Kenyans. India, the number of election officials are more than the population of Kenya. Those are election officials of an election with 3 commissioners. Look here, my friend. This is a simple thing. A referendum can be done in... it's nothing.
Even though
it's all the time.
Even though the Court of Appeal has told the IBC that you cannot conduct this election.
But if it will be possible, because the Supreme Court will have overturned that.
And that's it.
Yeah, so in terms of whether practically it's possible, yes, it's possible. But does it make political sense? The answer is no.
It doesn't.
I think the country is psyched so much against BBI that even if it was saved at the Supreme Court, it will be unwise on the part of Raila and Uhuru to go on with the referendum. Yeah.
There's a time you said that the BBI cannot be stopped unless
you
it is
cannot
stopped.
stop an idea.
Unless it is stopped by Raila and Uhuru.
And that's what I'm saying.
It still has the lifeline.
It is still a lifeline. It could have been incubated somewhere by other people, by even the owners. If Raila doesn't want BBI and Uhuru, it's gone. But if they want it, they only need to win the presidency, 2022. Yeah. Once you have the presidency, Ruto will be in Surgoi, nursing his wounds. He would not be talking in public. Then they will just bring the referendum and it will pass by 10. Usubui, as Atwoli would say. It's Aine Usubui.
So you're saying it still has the lifeline? Yes, it's not dead?
Yes. Politically, I will not advise. Okay. Now, where we have reached with it, let's concentrate on the general election.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the issues that were brought up, about 23 issues from the High Court, was regards to the amendments that some of them were in the Building Bridges initiative. Yes. Which amendments would you say caused its downfall?
Of course, the Ombudsman really charged the judiciary in a way they are unlikely to. If they found some opening to stop, they will use it because of that Ombudsman thing. But even on the side of Raila, there are people who are not happy with these constituencies. Even the people like Orengo, they were not happy.
70 constituencies.
Yeah, so they were giving it lukewarm support, but they were not happy. So looking at it, maybe those two, to me, would contribute to the death of BBI, because Orengo and his group didn't give this thing the support it required after the 70 constituencies were sneaked in. Yeah, I think they were sneaked in. And then the judges could not have been happy with the Ombudsman. Well, then there could be other issues here and there.
So you're saying, apart from the ruling itself, you're not disagreeing with it. You feel like even the BBI in itself was in itself a problem to the judges?
BBI, even the inception, I have said it repeatedly, even the membership of that task force, it was wanting. It didn't have men and women of substance, the kind of... Well, this is a big thing. This is a big thing, and what is coming from the courts, and it's showing it was a big thing. Raila and Uhuru treated this thing as if it was a big thing. It was earth-shaking. It was monumental. And a big thing of this nature, you need the best brains to put them somewhere.
Then why would you say then that you do not agree with the ruling when it comes to now the issues that were brought to
You see, the ruling or the judgment places this country in an awkward position that we cannot amend our constitution, number one. Number two, it puts the judiciary in conflict with the executive in a way that can destroy the country. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah.
So apart from those two, apart from the rulings, did you have a problem with the 23 issues and how they were
There was nothing
out,
there that could
like
stop,
the president
that could stop
initiating and other issues
there
like
was
the
nothing.
task force?
I have read and read and read the judgment, the BBI, the High Court judgment, the lawyers' presentations. I've wasted a lot of my hours and time, sometimes sleeping at 4 o'clock in the morning, reading. I have not seen anything that could stop BBI or reg. Nothing. Not any of those things. A good number of them have nothing to do with the amendment of the Constitution. Nothing. If you say the president can be sued or not, what does that go do with the amendment of the Constitution? If you say IBC was not constituted, what are you saying? Are you saying the Constitution is inferior to an act of parliament? Are you also telling me as a court you don't understand the meaning of a quorum? A quorum is pegged to a number for reasons that a few people should not lock themselves in a room and make a decision on behalf of the whole body. That's why you have a quorum. So once you have 7, 5 becomes a quorum. The moment you don't have 5, the issue of quorum just disappears. Where else do you go? You go to the Constitution. Are they sufficient to constitute a commission? Yes. The Constitution says between 3 and 9. That's not an issue to canvass at High Court. Maybe in a magistrate's court.
Okay, would you say then there was a conflict between the written text in the Constitution and the interpretations
That's where the problem
by the judges? And how can we bridge this
Even in
difference?
America, there's that problem. A good judge, according to me, applies the law as it is, not as it should be. No, as it is. Where they find the law as it is has challenges that they cannot resolve as a bench, they recommend to the lawmaking institution to deal with that. Parliament, and we have heard many things from courts telling us this parliament may need to look at this. That is the way to go.
Oh.
That is the way to go. You don't demolish the law as it is, then go in the bush and use a law from the jungle. No.
What would you say is something that Kenyans should have observed, should now have observed from the ruling by the judiciary?
Just one thing. Let those who are against this amendment for good reasons, and a number of them, people like Martha Karua, they have good reasons. Let them now move to amend the Constitution of Kenya to put in those provisions they are talking about. I've given an example. Who should appoint the judges, the president or the Judicial Service Commission? Let them write it in letter that the Judicial Service Commission shall interview and appoint judges. No more story. The basic structure, identify what it is, put it in the Constitution. Can you amend any of that? Yes. How easily? Very difficult. Put it in the Constitution. Are there things we can't touch? Yes. Which ones are there? Put them there. Simple. Because Kenya is supposed to be here for millions of years to come. We are behaving as if Kenya will end tomorrow.
What do you think then should happen to the Constitution as it is?
You should provide for those safeguards through a constitutional amendment that then protects the Constitution. Then the judges will not go fishing from university lecture rooms and libraries and journals. No, and PhD dissertations.
So would you say there is much that wasn't in the Constitution that we have now been able to uncover through the rulings?
The takeaway, the best thing that has happened from these two judgments is that we have been able to lay bare the weakness of our Constitution. The things that need strengthening to protect our Constitution, to make it work better. Let us put those things in the Constitution.
Oh, and that for you is a lesson that we have learned.
That's what.
Okay, when we come back, let's take a look at some of the things Professor Simon Moi would rather gamble with on Would You Rather. Okay, Professor, would you rather have Maina Kamanda or Peter Kenneth as Raila's political advisor from the mountain region?
I think I will go for Maina Kamanda.
Maina Kamanda?
He knows He knows this terrain. He has been around. These are the original councillors of Nairobi. Then the original Kanu diehards, the people who fix the politics of this country. There's a lot to learn.
He knows Mount Kenya better.
Yeah, better than PK.
Okay, you've gone to the Senate. You need a representative of the Senate, more like a class representative. You're a professor, you're a lecturer. Would you rather have Cleophas Malala or Kimani Wamatangi?
Kimani Wamatangi is sober. Yeah, I'll go for him.
Sober in terms of?
He understands these things. He doesn't. He's not the flip-flopping type. You know, Malala is a good young man. These are my children. It's my son.
Oh.
But you know, he flip-flops too much. You need some kind of stability. Yeah.
Okay, Prof, you're going on a road trip. You need someone to accompany you on that road trip. Mike Sonko or Alfred Mutua?
I can go with Sonko.
Sonko on the road trip.
You can entertain me throughout.
It's going to be a rowdy one, right? Okay, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Understanding Politics. My name is Jadel Kabira, obviously here with Professor Herman Manyora. Until we have this conversation again, Professor, asante sana.
Thank you too.